For more than a decade, New Economy Project has operated a free financial justice hotline through which we have received calls from thousands of low-income New Yorkers. By far, the most frequent issue we hear about on the hotline is abusive and fraudulent debt collection. That's because debt-buying companies like Encore Capital purchase old, alleged debts for pennies on the dollar and then sue low-income people, often without sufficient notice or proof that they even owe the alleged debts in question. Often, people do not discover they've been sued until the debt collectors use the resulting default judgments to take their wages or funds they have in their bank account. We have heard countless horror stories on our hotline from New Yorkers, especially New Yorkers of color, women, immigrants, and seniors, who find themselves without access to their money, unable to buy food or medicine or pay their rent because debt-buying companies have sued them and obtained court judgments against them through deceptive and fraudulent dealings. We're here today to raise questions about 1. The harm that Encore's debt collection practices have on New York City's communities of color, and 2. The law firms Encore hires. This map shows debt collection lawsuits filed in New York City in 2018. As you can see, these lawsuits were disproportionately concentrated in communities of color. The darker areas represent the greatest concentration of debt collection lawsuits. The diagonal lines indicate neighborhoods of color, more than 70% non-white. Even starker is the second map, which shows default judgments obtained against New Yorkers in 2017. The map shows the likely targeting of communities of color for these abusive practices. The concentration of default judgments indicates major extraction of wealth from New York City communities of color. Encore bears significant responsibility for this injustice as a major filer of debt collection lawsuits in New York. Indeed, 4 out of every 5 New Yorkers who have called our hotline since 2017 seeking help with Encore's debt collection abuses are people of color. Disturbingly, Encore's annual report states that it uses demographic data to design its collection strategy, suggesting Encore may be engaging in discriminatory targeting of individuals based on inappropriate factors. At the very least, our maps and data analysis strongly suggest that Encore's practices disproportionately harm New York City's communities of color. We also question why Encore continues to work with law firms, such as Forster & Garbus, which the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau recently sued for failing to review basic supporting documents before suing someone on an alleged debt. The New York courts censured another Encore law firm for suing people even though the firm knew the people it was suing didn't owe the alleged debts. Indeed, Encore's annual report states that Encore pays its law firms based on the amounts the firms collect on Encore's behalf, suggesting it sets the table for the law firm's predatory practices. And so we ask, what is Encore doing or planning to do to address the disproportionate impact of its debt collection practices on New York City's communities of color? Will Encore commit to no longer enforcing and to vacating judgments obtained through fraud? And will Encore provide redress for its systematic extraction of wealth from New York City's low-income communities and communities of color?